Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Living Yosh. Sometimes in life, what we need most isn't another person telling us what to do. Sometimes we just need someone who can help us slow down, breathe, clear some of the noise, and reconnect with ourselves. My guest today has dedicated his life to doing exactly that. Uriel Maksumov is an energy healer, spiritual coach, author, and someone whose work is centered around helping people find clarity, healing, protection, and a deeper sense of peace. But what interests me most today isn't just that what he does, it's why he does it. What does it feel like to know that your words can bring comfort to somebody who may be struggling? When do you realize that the people actually need to hear your voice? And when do you spend so much of your life helping other people heal who helps heal you? Today, I want to slow things down. I want to talk about purpose, obstacles, energy, happiness, and what it really means to help another human being feel a little bit whole. Uriel, welcome to Living Yosh, and I'm really happy to have you here. Thank you so much for being my guest today.
Hey, Yosh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited about this podcast today.
So, before we talk about energy, healing, or anything you teach, who is Uriel Maksumov, and what happened in your life that led you down this path? If you don't mind sharing.
So, Uriel Maksumov is, in a few words, is I dedicate my life to helping others who are in a place where they can't help themselves. They're struggling. They could be dealing with sadness, breakup, business issues, some kind of struggle that they just can't kind of figure out what to do. And they come to me and I help them rebuild their life ground up. And I dedicate my entire day from morning to night, whether it's making meditations, whether it's making content, whether it's doing podcasts, to help people see more light, to awaken that spark of light within them that, hey, there is purpose, there is a goal, there is second chances, there is something that you can do in this world that will give you another opportunity to live a happier life.
I totally love that because obviously I'm a little biased and I believe in second chances. Whether it's something you did or didn't do, you need to realize that you always have a chance to grow all over again. It doesn't have to be, okay, something happened and it's all over. So I do appreciate you saying that. So thank you. I wanted to ask you, tell me about you as a child. Were you this relaxed? Were you like a wild child and all of a sudden you calmed down a little bit, you slowed down?
As a child, I would say, I think a lot of people always told me, they're like, oh, you're so calm, you're so calm. But
Yeah.
I think that, as a kid, obviously, we run around, we have fun, we have a good time. And I was a happy kid. I was really a happy kid. I was always just, all my pictures that you see, I'm always smiling. I'm always like full of life. But as I got older, I started to meditate. And my goal was to teach myself to kind of deal with anxieties, deal with like day to day issues. Because we're all human. We're all going to be tested. We're all going to be given certain things that are going to like shock our system. And the more you grow spiritually, you're going to be shocked more and more. More things are going to come to you. So, my method of kind of keeping myself happy and balanced and cool is mostly because of meditations. I do that in the morning. I do my prayers in the afternoon. I sometimes spend 5, 6 hours in meditation the entire day. That's just like, you have to do it to kind of keep yourself very calm.
Do you think, and because I hear a lot of different opinions about this. Do you think people are born with, some struggles that they just need to deal with later on? I mean, like they say, some people you're born this way. When someone says that to you, what do you think?
So, without getting in too much into like past lives and like reincarnations, I'm sure a lot of people want to hear about it, but we're born with certain previous lifetime kind of like corrections, you want to call it, or a mission to fix something that we struggled with in a previous life. So, if we did bad things, or if we hurt people, or if we weren't living, the best version of ourselves, we're here to correct that. We're here to kind of like improve those things. Does it mean if you're born and you're given like a certain set of, I call them weapons, right? And you're given a certain set of weapons, does it mean that you're just stuck there and you can't get out?
Yeah.
No. I'm a strong believer in being able to come out of your predestined ways and rise above the stars, right? You rise above your whatever you're given, you rise above it. How? You got to improve yourself. You got to try. You got to push yourself to those limits where you're like, you know what? I'm struggling. Let's say, for example, somebody's struggling with finances. They have to push themselves a little extra than the next guy who's not struggling with finances. So, whatever struggle you have, you got to push yourself in that area specifically. But I strongly don't feel that we're limited, that we can't change completely. That's definitely not my take.
I totally agree with you. If I didn't, I'd be in trouble, to be honest. So I struggled a lot, and that's one of the reasons I started this podcast, because I felt like my voice was taken away. And so luckily, I feel like I have a voice again, and a lot of it, to be honest, is because I appreciate people being on my show. So when did you feel like you had a voice that people were going to listen to? When did you build the confidence to say, you know what, I'm going to make this into a career. I'm going to help people, and you know what, I think I'm pretty confident they'll listen to me.
So I'll put it. You're not gonna believe it. I was like a very, like, I would say I ran a big company at one point when I was a lot younger, and this is going back over 20 years ago. And I was the guy that was very quiet, very to myself. I kept quiet. I wasn't the outspoken one. I wasn't the guy that's going to be the speaker. I wasn't coming out and saying, "Hey, I'm the loudest guy in the room." That was definitely not me. I was more of the shy, keep to myself, a very secretive. Being a Scorpio also, right? We're naturally like born. We're very secretive. That's just the way we are. So as I got older and I got into the energy healing field, for the first, I want to say 8 to 10 years, I was nowhere. I had no pictures up online. I had no videos. I had nothing. And I was helping people already worldwide. A lot of the clients that I still have are people that literally just worked with me without ever seeing my videos or anything. And just in 2021, is when I first started to kind of get into social media and speaking more. And I'm still like resistant to it. I'm still kind of like, you know what? Let me kind of keep it on the down low. I don't need to get too big. It's just the way some people are. Some people want to be the loudest voice in the room, and some people are like, you know what? I'm okay the way I am.
So without, and I'm not asking you to brag or anything, but do you feel like you have a gift? I mean, you this comes natural to you. I mean, do you feel that way?
As far as the energy healing,
Yeah, 100%.
I feel every single person, and this is the core of my energy healing as a whole. I feel every single person has the DNA of God inside of them, and they have ability to bring something into this world. Whether it's healing, whether it's could be, they're great attorneys, they're great doctors, they're great speakers, they're great with their hands. Every single person has a gift. My gift, I feel, is whenever I pray for people, whenever I connect to their problems, I experience their problems within myself, within my own body. I will feel them as if they're inside of me. I'm feeling their energy. I'm feeling what they're going through. And that, through love, through a lot of love, through a lot of like deep inner love, you're able to shift a person's life out of that misery into something better.
So let me ask you. So let's say I'm a client. I find out about you. Do most people say, they call you like, I have a problem? I mean, not necessarily the word. And then what happens? They call you like, I'm a mess. Please.
Right, right. So it's something I was thinking about, past couple of weeks. It's like I'm like, I deal with people that only have problems. Nobody calls me and says, "Hey, I'm doing great."
Well,
Everybody on
eventually.
you know right. So once they get started with me, they sort of elevate their life, they start to improve, and that's my goal, right? My end game is when I look at a person, I'm like, I want to see them their happiest self, their most positive self. I have like this thing inside of me where, like, some people will sit there and they'll pray for things, right? Physical things. They'll maybe pray for a house, pray for a car. I'm always like praying for, like, in my head, I'm like, why can't this world not have pain and suffering? Why does it have to have pain and suffering? Why does it have to have so much evil in it? Why do we have to have alarms and passwords, and like, why can't we just all be good? Right? This is what goes through my mind. If you ask me, most of my clients do come to me with problems, but they definitely leave feeling a lot better.
That's awesome. I mean, you've helped a lot. I don't know the exact
Right.
number. That was hard to find out, but you've helped a lot
Right.
of people. Thank God. I mean, we need people like that who, they put their self aside. They put other people first. I mean, I feel like that's the only way. Kindness goes so far. And the fact that you said you kind of feel for the person, you become that person. I mean, that's a strength right there. I mean, you need to relate. You have to understand. I mean, it was hard for me, and not to get into myself too much, but it's hard because I had people that comforted me and said, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And it felt good at first, but then when I started, I went to group therapy. I started talking to people who've been through. I never compare other people's situations to mine, because everyone deals with situations differently. But I needed people that really could relate, people who've been through similar struggles like mine, where either everything was taken away from you, or you're depressed because you feel like there's no hope. So even people that are on medication, I'm like, I got to find people who are on depressing medication, anxiety medication, because they understand me. And that was one of the ways I recovered, because I felt like, I can't just keep on hearing you're going to be okay. It wasn't solving all the problems. It becomes a broken record. And I really had to surround myself with people like you who really could understand what I'm going through. And I think that's why people go to you, unless I'm wrong, because like you said, you understand them. You hear their voices. You're not just going to tell them it's going to be, it is okay. Because they need to hear, like, it might not be okay right now, but it will be okay. And let me tell you how. So I really appreciate that.
Right, right. So a lot of people that are probably going to be listening to this will want to hear what steps somebody that had like a serious problem takes to get to like a final destination. Like I'll get people that will say, I'm scared of flying. I'm scared of driving a car. I have fear of dating. I have fear of meeting people. I have fear of that I'm going to be sick. Every single person has like this problem that they're
Yeah,
dealing with.
I'll tell you.
So,
Yeah, I'll tell you. The worst part in the beginning for me was that I had terrible PTSD. I literally was home because I was on house arrest with my dog all day. But whether I heard a siren or I heard a tap at my door, or if my dog looked at the door, I was going to my door to check the peephole maybe every 5 minutes for weeks. It was making me crazy. So what did I do? I spoke to my lawyer. I spoke to people I've been, and I said, am I like overly concerned? Like, yes, no one's coming to get you. You're fine. Like, you just need to realize. And I couldn't just ask my friends to tell me that. I need to speak to professionals. People literally said they're not coming to get you unless you do something wrong. So that was the first step. That helped me with the PTSD, although it's still there today. I'm not gonna lie. It's just not as bad. I need to start surrounding myself. I wasn't big on reading. I started reading books that really comforted me and really understand, what's important in life. Because not that I lived a luxurious life, I had to start finding meaning. I had all this free time. I had to find meaning, what really life is about. The problem with a lot of people, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that we never slow down. We always go from 0 to 60. First, I was fortunate to have time. I was forced to sit down and think about life because I had no distractions. I wasn't allowed to go outside. I couldn't use the internet. So just being at peace and realizing, what do I really want with this time? What am I going to do when this is done? It sounds so simple, but we don't always sit down and think about it. We don't always put aside all the stuff that is pointless to really focus on what's so important. And that's why I'm more relaxed now, because although my life's not perfect, it's far from it. I'm now able to realize what is really important. What do I need? What do I not need? What should I get upset about? What shouldn't I get upset about? It changed my life for the best, even going through hell.
right. So it took something. I'm a big believer of there's always, I live by, this is what I teach my own clients, right? I tell them that in this world, you got basically two choices. You could be with the dark side or you could be with God,
Yeah,
right? I said, there's no in the middle. I said, if you're going to pick God, you got to close your eyes and just let him lead you
I
because
love when you said that.
the free will that we get, I feel like the universe was created, and this is just ancient wisdom, right? The universe was created. We got free will. God is just a giver, right? He's constantly giving us. And if we align with him and we're like, you know what? We have our own moment where we're like, I trust you. I trust you blindly. I don't care whatever it takes. I'm just going to have certainty and that's it, right? If we go with that route, we're going with the light. So we're going to have angels. We're going to have ancestors. We're going to have all these spiritual forces that are going to help us get to a proper destination. Now, if we go with the dark side,
So
we become the controller. We become the person that's kind of like sitting there trying to figure everything out. What am I going to do? How will I pay my bills? How will I do this? How will I do that? And guess what? Everything starts to fall apart.
yes,
And again, I feel like every sign astrologically deals with it differently. Like being a Scorpio,
by the way.
right? So we're both water signs, right? We're both water signs, but being a Scorpio, I want to always control everything. I want to be in control. It's like we're leaders. We're that's what we do. The Cancers are like very emotional. There's a lot of like moodiness to it. So that essentially, it's not easy. But when my clients come to me and they're like, Uriel, I'm having this court case, or I'm having this, somebody's suing me, or I'm about to lose my house. They don't I don't tell them that, hey, you got to do these physical things and everything is going to be all right. I connect to something higher. That's where my
Yeah.
book, the energy intelligence, I connect to something higher where I'm like, we need extra forces of nature that will come and help us shift this entirely.
I love how you said that because I literally went through that where I either had a really, really bad day or a pretty good day. It was never in the middle. Like I couldn't be just content. It wasn't possible. So I need to start training my brain to think more about the stuff that's good, or I would literally fall apart, like you said. Because the bad stuff was really bad. It could put me in a really bad place. So I totally understand. I do. It's hard. You can't be in the middle. It's really hard to be, or it's hard to be in the middle.
So the way I teach people what to do exactly, it's like you got to train yourself to where every time you get a negative thought, negative emotion, some kind of fear, right? We all get it. We're not immune to it. I will get it as well. Everybody will get the same treatment, right? We have to put up walls where we're like, I'm not going to go with it. Sometimes people are like, they're entertain that negative thought and they start listening to it and they're like, maybe this bad thing could happen to me, and that itself creates an energy that people can't see. There are energy forces all around us, and that force starts to destroy you. So you in that moment, you got to stop. You got to be like, wait a second.
I love
Put
that.
put up the walls. You put up the walls, and you're like, I don't want to entertain these negative thoughts.
And that's what I did. I started literally, like, for example, when I pray, before I do a certain part of the prayer, every day I tell myself everything's for the best. A simple line like that, and I got used to saying it every single day, every day. It took a long time for my brain to get used to it, but every day I tell myself everything is for the best. And it doesn't have to be that line. That's just what I picked. And it helped me so much just every day, every day. It's all for the best. It's all for the best. And then I started believing it because my brain eventually gets used to it.
Right, right. There's definitely still dark forces that we have to
Yes.
understand. Like there is things like evil eye and envy and all these dark forces that can affect us for sure. But the more we become like a vessel that gives to others and helps others, we kind of build our own protection as well.
So I
And
like you for
that's
that.
the key.
So I want to talk about negative energy now that you mentioned that. So what are some signs that someone might need to change the energy or the habits that they go on with a daily basis where you feel like, there's some negative energy here. Let's start working on this.
Right. So if the best thing is whenever like couples, I see this a lot with couples, and they're like, you know what? We're constantly fighting in the house. We're constantly having some kind of argument or disagreement. So what happens is our homes, they are all, they have energies. The walls, once you open the door to like, once you start yelling, screaming, arguing, once you open that door, you create a dark force that sits there. It lingers. So every time something happens, it triggers you, and then boom, that dark energy enters your sphere and you start getting crazy. So what I tell people is once you notice that you're getting tense in your house often with your kids, with your spouses or whatever, with your family, with your friends, even on the phone you'll get tense because you have that energy around you.
Yeah.
I tell people that's your first sign. That's something that you notice that's very visible. So, and once things start like going wrong, like just randomly, like everything you're doing, like we are human. There are certain destinies, right? Certain things are normal part of life. But once you start noticing like everything kind of going wrong, like you drive out and you get a ticket. You're driving back home, you get another ticket. Or, like once you start noticing like too much negativity, that is when you have to be like, okay, now I got to do something about it.
Can I tell you what's hard for me? Because I was told what to do for a very long time when I was going through my situation. Is that I have a very hard time, and even I'm not gonna lie, I got a little upset at one of my kids last night. I have a hard time because I feel like anytime someone tells me what to do, they're being like an authority figure, and it makes me kind of get worked up. Like I have a hard time. I don't think anyone likes being told what to do, but it makes me think of the people that told me what to do all the time. That definitely brings negative energy, and it brings a reaction for me that I'm working on myself a lot. But this one is the one I'm struggling with a lot. When someone tells me what to do, especially when I don't agree with them, like it brings out, I don't want to say it, but the worst in me, which luckily isn't so bad, but I just can't deal. And I blew up with one of my kids yesterday. I'm not gonna lie, because he was kept on telling me what to do, and I'm like, you gotta stop, man. It's hard.
So, right. So, what I would say to that is whatever area that we struggle with the most, right? Whatever like kind of like boils our like reaches our boiling point is the areas that the universe, it's not yourself. It's not like you logically wake up and like, oh, I need to fix this issue. Like this is bothering me the most. No. So whatever boils you the most, you gotta go back to like, is this ego? Is this pride? Is this something that like I need to work on? And then just kind of like, if it's ego, if it's pride, if it's something like that's constantly coming out, right? Like a person that's cheap, right? A person that's constantly like cheap with money. Every time you ask them for money, like they're thinking about it, they cannot give. So that's a trait that they need to work on. So whenever you get that message or that like alert, right? It's your alarm system going off. And it's like, oh wait, I'm getting triggered and it's making me angry because he's trying to tell me what to do, right? At that moment, that's when you stop yourself. That's when you create the most light. That's when you really, really you stop yourself and you're like, wait, I always struggle with this problem. I'm gonna let it go. And the moment you do that a couple of times,
Mhm.
that problem will disappear from your life. It's like it never happened. It will completely heal that part of you.
I need to, and I appreciate you telling me that because it kills me inside every time I do, because I know it doesn't, it's not necessary. And I just, I need to stop, like you said, stop, drop, and listen. you know, it's, you're right, because especially because it brings me more pain afterwards. And I have regrets. Like I shouldn't have done this. It was pointless. I should just be like, okay, you're entitled to your opinion. It just,
Right.
it's a trauma. It's a trauma, and I want to get out of it so bad.
Right. So a person that realizes that they have, like, for example, some people come to me and they're like, Uriel, I have temper issues. I blow up, and I throw things and they hit things. They tell me they have temper issues. So the first thing I tell them is the second that boiling point comes, your head starts to heat up, your hands start to tingle, you get all angry, stop, catch yourself, stop, and just say, you know what? I'm lowering my ego, I'm lowering my pride, and I'm going to let this go. I'm going to let the other person win, and I'm okay with it. And the moment you do that a couple of times, it like transforms something within your energy field where you literally become a different person.
Literally, I was so dumb. I was watching, like, I don't really scroll through clips on like social media. I kind of just use it just to kind of talk about myself and share people that have been on my show. And I saw these clips of these like soldiers who haven't seen their kids in so long, and it was a big mistake. And I just started tearing up. I'm like, what did I do? So I appreciate the advice, in all honesty, because I need to. It hurts me. It's one of my biggest problems after everything I've been through, because I don't like to feel guilt, and I don't like to feel like I made a mistake. So I'm just trying to get myself together again, and it's hard. So I do appreciate that. Thank you.
So one thing that I tell people is, and this really helped me myself as well, and it's probably going to help you and a lot of viewers worldwide. Whatever it is that you're experiencing, like someone says something to trigger you, or you see something that triggers you, always remember, especially children, when children say something, it's always coming from the light, from God, from the universe. Something in the universe is doing that to change something within that person. So a lot of my clients will come to me and they say, I always get narcissistic people that abuse me, or I always get this guy that like will not show up on time, or he'll be rude to me, or he'll be mean to me. So the biggest thing I tell them is, remember, it's a message that you're getting. Maybe you don't have enough self-love. Maybe you don't have enough you feel like you're not good enough. Maybe so all those things that you
It's
experience are they're triggering something, and that happened to me as well. Like the biggest things, like for example, I never did public speaking, right? It was something new to me. I was just kind of like to myself. So every time I would kind of make a video, in the beginning my mind would just clear out and I'd be like, what was I even going to say? Like, so the reason that would happen is because the universe wanted me to work hard to build myself to a place where I can be expressing those messages a lot better. It's helping us. We just can't see. We're trained with all the media, with all the stuff. We're trained to see the negative things. It's just the way it is.
you got it on this. Like, and I'll admit it. I don't feel like I'm good enough sometimes, because I do feel like, especially starting over, and thank God I've worked on myself a lot, and I feel a lot better than I did a year ago. But I don't. A lot of times it is my self esteem. I feel like because I'm not where I was. I don't feel like I'm good enough. Like, you're totally right. It is a big part of it. And when someone tells me you didn't do this right or you're not doing a good job, it lowers my self esteem to a point where I never was before. You got it. Ding, ding, ding. You got it.
Right.
It's true. That's what it is. My self esteem drops a lot quicker than it used to.
Right. So notice what is triggering it, and you got to work on that and work on that and work on that. But nobody's perfect. That's the beauty of it is every single person, even the best speakers and the best motivational speakers or whoever you see online that's like perfect, they're gonna have those issues. They're gonna have things that they have to work on as well.
I appreciate. Thank you. It helps to hear it, and I'm okay admitting it. I need to hear it. I need to hear it from someone, and especially someone who deals with this on a daily basis. I really appreciate that. And I think one thing I am going to work on that you provide a lot of different types of meditation, which I actually wanted to ask you about that because I want to start teaching myself how to meditate, not only during prayer, but when I'm going through like a difficult time. Because I shut down sometimes when I'm upset because I'd rather just not have controversy, but it brings all the bad thoughts in my head. So I feel like meditating would be so beneficial for someone like me. So do you mind discussing a little bit about the meditation?
So meditations, as a whole, I started doing very young. Like I would just lay there and meditate for hours and hours when I was like 17, 16 years old. And as I started to see the angelic forces and all these energies in the world, I wanted to connect to them more. And when I would meditate, I would actually be able to, like, it's almost like a communication, and you can feel different things, you can connect to different things within your body and as well as outside of your body. And the more I did it, the better I became. So in the past 5 years, I used to do guided, I still do it, guided meditations on Zoom, one on one, with anybody. And a couple of years ago, I was like, you know what? Let me try making a meditation that, I can release on YouTube, let people try it. And now we have over 80 meditations. They are tailored to different areas of people's lives, whether it's stress, whether it's anxiety, whether it's anger, whether it's struggling to sleep, whether it's having like, if you're having a big decision to make, you want to listen to a meditation. So I've made different meditations and I keep adding them. Every week, I try to release a new meditation. People all over the world, I have over 122,000 subscribers on YouTube. There's also a premium version of it where they get a lot more meditations. There's still a lot of free ones, but the bottom line is when a person listens to my meditation, from what I've seen, they always come back to me and say, Uriel, I don't know what happened, but I feel different. Something changed inside of me and I loved it. And what it is the intention behind it. When I make these meditations, I focus on improving the person's life. So for example, let's say I'm making a meditation for someone struggling to sleep or someone having some kind of struggle with their relationship. So when I focus on that meditation, when I'm making it, right, I meditate and I think and I think and I create the script. My intention behind it is to solve a problem for that person. So when they're listening to it, that energy, those angelic forces, those forces that people can't see, will immediately connect to them, and boom, the person is like experiencing a whole transformation.
I definitely need to try. It's like the first five that you said is all the ones that I need. You listed me, so I don't know if you did that on purpose. So because I've interviewed people who I'm not saying they're bad people at all, but they're in a field where I expect them to have some critics or some people that say negative things. Do you have any people who give bad feedback? 'Cause I don't even know what people would say to you where it's like something negative. It doesn't even make sense because you bring the opposite of negative.
Right. As far as you're talking about the meditations,
Anything is social media has everything now. It has, you're a
right?
bad person, you do this wrong. I mean, it could be the meditate or anything in your field. Because I just feel like, how can someone say something bad about what you do or about your voice?
Right, right. So the meditations, I, everybody, for the most part, I would say 95% of people were like, I love it. It's great. I will get some people that'll be like, the music is a little too loud, or I didn't like, the music. That's the only thing, especially
That's
when
not so
someone
good.
is right, right. So you can't, unfortunately, not everyone will have the same hearing, or they could be listening to headphones too loud. You just don't know. That I will get sometimes. Like once in a couple of months, I'll hear that. It hasn't happened in a while because we've lowered it enough. But as far as social media, listen, it's a tough place. I mean, you're dealing with in my line of work. I think for the most part, it's been, thank God, good. right, for the past couple of months. But I've definitely, as I was growing and gaining my followers on Instagram, there was a lot of skeptics, a lot of haters, a lot of people will post like some rude stuff and just kind of listen. These are all things coming, as I always said, from God, right? They're triggering something in us. And I remember the more reactive I was when I first started, the more of it I would get. So the more it would bother me, the more I would get more and more of these messages and hate messages, or, oh, this doesn't work or that doesn't work. But now it's almost like it all disappeared because I don't care. You could have a difference of opinion. There's going to be people. I'll post a video or some kind of quote, and I'll get like, especially on astrology, right? I do these fun astrology posts videos where I run down different signs, and I'll get 800,000 views, and there's thousands of comments. So I'll get the people that'll be like, "You're wrong. This is not right," and like it should be this. And you look at how many followers they have. They have 3 followers or 4 followers, but they're experts in.
In there.
You're gonna get people, and that's the beauty of it. If you learn to love people and you learn to understand each person's like where they're coming from, they could say something mean to you in that in a moment, right? And I've had that happen. I've had somebody say something mean, and then I send them a private message, and I'm like, "I'm sorry it offended you. I have no idea, why, but I just wanted to personally apologize." And then we become friends, and then like we build a whole thing, and they start to open up. So you just, I think that human nature is built on love. We just have to like find a way to get through to people.
Don't they know who they're messing with? Like it'd be hard. I feel like it'd be very hard to get you upset. You're the wrong person.
I
You when you apologize to them, they're just like, "Wait, I thought you were gonna get mad at me." Like you do the opposite of what they want.
Right, right. So I have very thick skin. I'll try to not like engage, and like sometimes, they'll say something, and I'll like scroll through it and like, oh, I don't agree with this, or I agree with this, or there's really, a person has to realize that everyone will have an opinion, everyone will have a view. We can have different views and still love each other and still be in the same, in the same world. We don't have to agree to everything. We're all different.
Yeah, we are. Trust me. I definitely know. So I wanted to ask you about Energy Luck, which is your kind of go-to slogan. Can you tell me a little bit about the history of that title and what it means to you, what it should mean to other people?
So Energy Luck, it was just a name I chose where I've always like, as I was doing healings on people, this is going back over 20 years. People always come to me, and the first thing they say is they're like, Uriel, my luck is bad. I have bad luck. I have bad luck. That's all. I've heard that for so many years. And at some point, I think it was like, I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna get into this helping people, and I called it Energy Luck because that's all I dealt with. That's what everybody, if you see all my messages, people come to me and they're like, my luck sucks, like I'm struggling with luck. And that's how it came about.
I wanted to ask you, and all jokes aside, but maybe it just seems kind of silly when I ask this. Is there ever someone you're just like, I don't want to say you don't know what to do, but you're just like, this person is really having it tough. Like this is going to be a lot to work with.
Right. So I'm glad you asked that. And I'll tell you this, over the years, I've had cases where it was just like, I literally would look at the case and I'll be like, wow, this is going to be in my own head. And I've learned since then, and I'll be like, this is like an impossible thing. And in a week or two, I get a text message that says, you changed my whole life. Everything changed. I feel so much better. My relationship is working. This has worked out. That worked out. And everything just changed and everything is great. And I'm sitting there with my jaw dropped, and I'm like, and I'm looking up at God, and I'm like, wow, I'm like, that was all you. So I've learned that when someone comes to me, I don't give my own opinion anymore. I
Mm.
don't kind of look at it because I'm human. And there are forces that anything that exists in this world, all the impossible can be possible. And that's just my motto. So like I've had people that had like serious like sicknesses and like illnesses, and that cured, that healed, that completely transformed. And like I've had people that like struggled with deep pain, and they were in a dark place, and they were lost. They didn't know what to do, and they completely transformed. I'm watching them live better lives. I'm watching them grow their lives, build businesses, and like it happened from a very dark place.
Wow. I can only imagine some of the situations you have to deal with. I mean, it's thank God for you. And I really mean that. I wanted to ask you kind of, I guess, about me for a second. So I wanted to So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm talking about me. So when I was going about to be, when I found out that I had to turn myself into jail, I freaked out. I literally freaked out. I was in my closet on the floor crying because I was thinking it wasn't only being scared of the idea of the uncertainty, which is a big part of it, but it was leaving my family, and I already had my business taken away from me. My bank account was frozen. It was basically everything fell at once. If I would have came to you, which I kind of wish I did, what would be the first thing you would say? To kind of be like, you know what, it's going to be a project, but I'm going to tell you this. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but if that's okay
Right.
to ask.
Right. Perfect. Perfect. So the first thing, that would happen is I would obviously I would meditate on you and connect to a higher power, because the feeling inside of you, that fear, that anxiety, that I don't know what's going to happen next, what will happen to my children, what will happen to my family, how am I going to pay everything, how am I going to survive, what's going to happen, are they going to lock me up, am I going to lose my life, all those things that are running through a person's head, that can be stopped in deep meditation when I connect to them, right? I would have to calm you down, and then afterwards the first thing I would tell you is I would say, Yosh, you're either with God or with the dark side. So,
I'm being
and
serious.
pick a side, don't be in the middle, and stick to the side that you pick. And if you pick God, this is your Abraham moment. You're like, you got to be like, okay, I'm picking God, and I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to just let him lead. And things would start kind of going with, because it would still be there. It would still be there. You would still be anxious. You would still be scared because you're human. But the second you relinquish control, right? Think of a person that gets diagnosed with cancer, right? And the doctor tells them, you got a year to live. And I've had that happen to people. And they would call me and they would say, they would be crying on the phone.
Yeah, sure.
And the first thing I tell them is, there's a God in this world and miracles happen. And I said, you called me because God wanted you to call me. And if you believe in miracles, let's make one happen. Let's pray together. Let's get this transformed. Let's get somewhere where we can see some kind of miracle in your life. And that is how you look at it, because everything in this world can change in an instance. You can walk, I heard a story where a guy never bought a lottery ticket, and he was in one of those 7-Elevens. He was waiting in line and he saw people buying, and he was just like, what are you guys buying? And he took out some money and he bought one, went home and he won.
Oh my God.
So it's like there are forces of nature that can change everything in a second. The light it already exists in this world. We already have it all. The only thing that's holding us back is that we have fear, we have anxiety, we have all these self-inflicted, like, kind of like, I don't trust you, I don't trust the creator. And the second that happens, you're disconnecting from all the blessings.
So, Uriel, what do you tell someone who doesn't believe in God when they come to you? I mean, I know, it's spirituality is a big part of what you preach, and I just want to know, and you don't have to get too much into it, but is that a huge factor?
So I've had people that have come to me a lot. I mean, I've dealt with thousands of people over the years. I've
Yeah.
had people that come to me and say, I don't pray, I don't believe in God, I don't care about any of that. I heard you're a good energy healer, fixed my life. So the beauty about God is he's not like a do or die type of scenario. It's not like a person sitting up there and just like, I like this guy, I don't like this guy. And God loves all of us. We're his children. So if
Yeah.
somebody has a differentiating opinion, right, where he's like, I don't believe in it. My job at that moment is I bring the introduction of God into that person. I teach them of why. I explain to them the logistical aspects of living life, living on your own versus having a God in your life. I basically introduce them the ability to see the light, because that's why they came to me. If they came to me, that means God wanted them to come to me. That means there was a higher purpose. So if they continue to be skeptics, which I haven't had, thank God, but if they would continue, that's fine. That's their decision. I would still help them. They could still do my meditations. They could still benefit from the energy healing, but I'm not a person that will force somebody.
I honestly, and it doesn't matter to me what God you believe in. It could be a rock, but I think everyone needs a go to. I totally agree with you. You need someone that at any hard moment you always know he or she or whatever is there. I think it's so important. I don't know how people just have no one they believe in. You can even think your mentor is a god, someone to always go. You can't. If I was on my own, when I went through this, I would not have survived. You need to have someone that supports you or something that you could always go to. I would not have survived without God. In my case, God, because I always knew He was there.
Right, right. So listen, people, the beauty of it is people sometimes need to kind of be shown the light, and they need to be shown that there's a possibility of improvement. There's a possibility of better. It doesn't have to always be like, do or die, meaning like you got to believe in this or you're screwed.
Yeah,
I tell people, I'm like, look, you're a good person. You're a nice person. You're a giver. You've always been like, I look at their traits, I get to know them, I try to understand like what their positivity is, because I learned at a young age from my mentor that each person that exists in this world, they exist because there's a spark of light inside of them from God. And that spark must be good because they're here. God created them because they are part of Him and they are good. They're here. I gotta find that good aspect of them. I gotta find that, and from that I expand on it, and then I build them up.
I love that. I totally agree. It's simple as that. I agree. I want to ask you. I know you don't have too much time, but I want to ask you, what do you do for fun? What is your
What
hobby?
do I do? It's funny. My kids. I have 4 children, thank God.
Thank God.
And my girls are always, my youngest, she's 10. She always says to me, she's like, Papa, you're always working. She says, she's like, you're always working. So for me, it's like, for me, fun. If I was to think about a fun thing right now, it would be laying on a raft in the pool, and the sun over my head, and I would be meditating. That would be the most fun thing for me. But spending time with my children, taking them out to eat and just kind of hanging out. That's obviously like barbecuing with the family is probably the most fun thing that I could say.
So that, and I think it connects to the fact when we do something that we love, it's easier to really do those things and really enjoy them, because I feel like when you do something you really can't stand, you need you want extra alone time and you have less patience, for the things that are important. That's why I'm really trying to find my place and something that it doesn't have to be my full time career, but I'm trying to find something that I can really enjoy so other things can be more peaceful, because I know that I'm doing making a difference and I'm doing something that I enjoy. So now being with my kids and my family and doing other stuff, I can enjoy it because I have nothing that I have to really worry about. I don't have to worry about my 9 to 5 job, or I'm not doing something that makes me happy. You have to do something that makes you happy.
Right, right. It's like what I tell people is, if you're doing something that's giving other people purpose or giving other people some kind of like uplift, you're going to keep coming back to it, because you're going to keep like, I'll get a text message or I'll get like an email in the morning of someone that like says thank you. And like somebody emails me from like 6 months ago or a year ago and says, hey, you helped me and like you changed my life. You want to do more of it. You want to keep helping people. So that will wake you up in the morning.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I'm striving for that. That's my goal. I want to have a bit of fun with you. Now that we spoke about things that you do for fun, but just a few questions. Just a multiple choice, if that's okay. Okay, so we're gonna start morning or night,
Night,
beach or mountains.
beach,
Okay, coffee or tea. Wow. Okay, I'm a coffee person. Phone call or text message.
text message.
Okay, if you're stressed, what works the fastest? Meditation, exercise, or being alone?
Meditation.
Okay. What makes you happiest? Helping someone? How many times? Accomplishing a goal? Or having absolutely nothing to do? Take me more than one answer.
I think it's going to be both family time and helping
I
someone.
kind of guessed that. If you suddenly you have to think about this. I know it's hard. Had an entire day off. Would you sleep, go somewhere, or somehow work anyway?
For me, it's so tough. I'm always going to be like trying to like, it'll lead me right back to work. It's unfortunate, but it's like I'll always be thinking like somebody could be hurting right now. They need my assistance. Let me answer. Let me check my text, or that's just how it is. That's my nature now. It's like I feel like, what is the purpose of me if I can't give the piece of me, that light that God gave me, that knowledge that He's built into me, if I can't give it over to someone else?
I don't think that's a bad answer at all. I think that's great. You can't really answer that in a bad way, and you actually answer in the best way. So I totally agree with you. Which describes you best? Serious, funny, calm, or it depends who's asking?
I think it's going to be calm and serious.
Okay,
It's probably a little of both.
okay. After a really difficult day, do you talk about it, you meditate, you forget about it, or you go to sleep?
Meditation, 100%. It's always meditation.
I love that. I love either praying or meditating or just thinking things through after a long day. This is the hardest question. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You can meditate and speak to God. You can meditate and kind of like
Yeah,
ask for help from the universe, for sure, for sure.
that's why prayer is more important to me than it's ever been. This is going to be the
Right.
toughest question, and you could think about it. After your time on Living Yosh, your energy is amazing, exhausted. Yosh, we're going to need another healing session.
Amazing. It's amazing. It's been wonderful with you, Yosh.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
been
you.
wonderful.
Uriel, I wanted to lastly ask you, which I'm sorry I didn't ask you earlier, how do people find you? What steps can they take?
So you can go on my YouTube channel. It's under Energy Luck. My Instagram is also Energy Luck with the underscore. And you could also find me on TikTok under Energy Luck. And then my website is also energyluck.com. So many, many, many ways.
And then I need to lastly ask you, when are you going to be in Hollywood, Florida, so I could take you out for falafel?
God willing, very soon. Hopefully, whenever I am, I'll definitely take you up on that.
I'm not kidding. Well, Uriel, I want to thank you so much because I've been looking forward to having you because you are an inspiration, and that's what my show is about. It's about people that can inspire others, but also you do what you love. And I think people need to realize that you can do what you love. It might not be your 24/7, but it's so important mentally to just find your peace. And I think you define that. So I really appreciate being on Living Yosh, and thank you for everything you do for not only me today but for others.
Thank you. Thank you
It's
so
a real
much, my
treat.
friend. Thank you for having me.
And I
Appreciate it.
hope you come on again.
I definitely will look forward to it.
Thank you again, and we'll be in touch.
All right.
All
Thank you.
the
Bye bye.
best.